host, Shay Robinson. I am hanging out in the studio tonight and I'm excited to be here. Welcome to the show that's called Hearts and Heels because we talk about everything from your heart to your heels. Remember, you can always call in at 334 318 6375. That's 334 318 6375. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in on Hearts and Heels tonight. And tonight, I want to talk about something really cool. Shout out to our social media listeners. If you're not following us on social media, check us out at Hearts and Heels, the number one. That is on YouTube, that is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those places. Please check us out, watch our videos, support us, let people know that you are a fan of Hearts and Heels and you tune in. Thank you for everyone that keeps stopping me when they see me in the streets and share their thoughts and feelings about Hearts and Heels. I appreciate you letting me know your thoughts and your feelings. It's always good to know how people feel about things and getting a response to what you're saying. Tonight's show is about sabotage. And last week we had a spirited discussion about relationships. And this week I'm going to take a spirited discussion into sabotage and relationships. And I want to give you my truth tonight because I have a truth that I figured out over the weekend. Now, I know this past weekend we celebrated Mother's Day, and a lot of us, mothers, we were excited to have, our families around, our friends around, whatever our situations were. Some of us felt lonely, but I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm going to let you get guys in on my secret. So this is just between me and you. Please don't tell my secret to anybody else. Sabotage is something that I'm really great at, and I know you have to be great at it too. Like you have a sabotage things in your life. I am really good at it. So one of the things that got me this weekend, whenever holidays come around, I'm really not good with holidays. I am sometimes, um, I don't know. I get sad. I get depressed. As a matter of fact, I was crying all day and all night, and I had no reason. I had no idea why I was crying or what was overtaking me and overpowering me. And I don't like tears. I don't like emotions like that. So I'm not a crier. But I was crying all weekend because I was so sad. And so Sunday, my kids were really wonderful. They showered me with wonderful gifts, and as one of my children, he gave me a necklace, and on the necklace it had in the front of it, in the heart, it said "I love you" like 100 different ways in 100 different languages. And it was really beautiful, and in that moment I cried because he was really, really thoughtful. And then for the first time it hit me that all these years I had sabotaged my life and what I thought and what I felt when it came to holidays. Up until that moment, I did not realize that the reason why I was feeling so sad and depressed is because I put myself in this position to not feel or want something because I had been let down before, or I had felt away before, or something didn't happen before. So once that thing happened, because I was hurt, something hurt me. It wasn't somebody did something to make me feel not worthy. Then from that moment on, I took on the habit of I am not going to let anybody hurt me anymore. And so I sabotage myself for every holiday. Have you ever said to yourself, I'm never going to let someone hurt me again? I'm never going to allow that thing to happen to me again. I'm never going to give someone power to be able to say or do something that makes me feel that way again. I have. And in that moment, when I got that gift, I realized what I had been doing to myself. So when I talk about sabotage, I'm not talking about sabotage that other people do. I'm talking about yourself. What you do to yourself. And I know we say we're protecting ourselves, and I know we say that we are, we're free, and I'm never going to let this happen again. We get these hard shells, but all those things are protection. It's just like your computer. Sometimes when you have a computer, you have covers on them, or your phone. Perfect example, you have a cell phone. And you put all these covers on it because those covers are protecting the phone from being damaged when you drop it and you put it in, you put it near water. Well, we do that a lot with our heart and who we are, because we're always trying to protect ourselves from hurt that hadn't even happened or not even promised to happen, because we're basing things on our past. So let's define sabotage as we talk about it, because I want you to understand what I've been doing, and I want you to understand what you've been doing. Sabotage means that you're deliberately destroying, damaging, or obstructing something. And see, I know we know about the destroying and damaging, but the obstructing, that means that you're keeping something from happening. So all the times that I was sabotaging myself, I was keeping happiness. I was keeping love. I was keeping things from entering the space that needed to be there. I was longing for something, but at the same time, I was keeping myself from experiencing it. I'm just merely trying to give us some help today. Sabotage deliberately. That means you're intentionally. That means that you're taking each moment and you have made a decision that I'm going to feel this way. Now, we don't do it consciously, we do it subconsciously, meaning, oh, it's Mother's Day weekend, so you automatically start switching this stuff. I'm just talking about what I did. I ain't talking about y'all. But I know you have places and spaces where you have sabotaged things for yourself. When you intentionally, subconsciously, or consciously start doing things to destroy and damage the things around you, to obstruct the things around you. And another definition is an act or process that hampers or hurt. That hampers or hurt. I'm just merely talking about sabotaging. When I realized in that moment that I was sabotaging myself, and I was sabotaging not just me, but the people around me who wanted to love me. Let's speak in truth. When we do that, when we don't allow people to love us the way that we want to be loved, all we're doing is hurting and damaging and help and making ourselves feel worse. I'm just talking about sabotage. We're going to talk about the truth in relationships tonight. We sabotage not only our relationships with our boyfriends, significant others, but we also sabotage relationships with our friends, with our family, because we've been so broken and so hurt in the past that we forget that there is an opportunity for love to abound in each and every one of us. The Bible simply tells us that the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So who we want to act like the enemy? And the Bible also tells us, but the God came to give us life and to give it to us more abundantly. So what we're going to do? We're going to choose abundant life, or we're going to continue to choose the sabotage road. I had to get off the road of destruction. And I'm telling you today, we got to get off the road of destruction, because we are continuously to make excuse as to why we are sabotaging our own lives. We won't stand up as people and say, I'm no longer going to respond like this. Do you know to be vulnerable is to have power? I was talking to Kevin last week, and we had a spirited discussion, and he's going to come on in just a minute, because we got to talk about sabotage with men, how men sabotage relationships and women sabotage relationships. We're going to talk about it. But do you know we had a discussion? I talked about submission, how submission was strength. Well, I'm telling you today, to be vulnerable is to be strength, to have strength. We look at vulnerability as weak. But when we allow ourselves to be open to what God has for us, we are doing exactly what God has designed for us to do. When we're closed off, that means, again, that we are obstructing what needs to happen. You know what obstruction is when you ride down the road and there's an accident. There's something obstructing you from going that way. And it's either going to do two or three things. It's either going to stop you for a long time and you're going to be sitting there frustrated in traffic. It's going to require you to go a different direction, or it's going to convince you that you didn't need to go that way anyway. So when you're obstructing something, that means it's taking you much longer to get to the other side. So I'm asking you today to think about the things that you are sabotaging in your life. Think about the relationships that you're sabotaging. Think about the people that you are not allowing to fulfill their destiny by doing whatever they need to do for you. I'm just telling you, if you gain your strength, if you gain your strength in being vulnerable, if you gain your strength in giving people an opportunity to be loved and to give you love and to show you love, then imagine what that would do for you. Imagine how you will feel. Imagine the baggage that you can release in your life if you stop living a life of sabotaging yourself. So you worried about what other people are doing to you, but what you doing to you is worse than what they're doing. I'm just saying what you're doing to yourself is self-mutilization. You are slowly just really killing yourself spiritually, emotionally, physically, because you're not allowing the work that needs to flow, the things that need to flow through you to flow. Sabotage. We're talking about it tonight because it's big in relationships. It's important in relationship with others. But at first, you have to understand how it impacts you. We make excuses. I grew up without my father. I grew up without my mother. I stopped trusting when I was young. So many people have hurt me in the past. I've been broken before. This I'm not allowing this to happen again. You won't catch me off guard again. I know we've said it before. Some of us are mad and angry. Some of us get depressed. Some of us cry. We do all these things because what we're doing is really not allowing anything to penetrate our heart. And God said that we need to create in us a clean heart and renew the right spirit. That's why I believe the scripture was written, because God knows that your heart can be hurt so bad. He said, okay, I just pray for it. Lord, create me a clean heart. Clean out what's been there so I can stop sabotaging myself, so I can allow love to come in, so I can allow things that you have designed for me to come in. I'm just creating me a clean heart. Renew in me the right spirit, the right things, how I should feel and stand and walk and be rightly. That's what the scripture is talking about, because every day someone hurts you. And if you keep holding on to it, your heart will get broken every single time. Don't live with your heart broken anymore. Not from you, not from what you do, not from what you feel. Don't live in that place anymore. Wake up, catch the call. Sabotage is not your portion. You do not have to live in a place of depression and frustration and anger. You do not have to live in a place of lack. You do not have to live in a place of wanting, because sabotaging yourself leaves you in a place of wanting. But what it becomes is a secret want, it's a private want. You don't want to share it with anybody else. You get, I want to be loved, but I got to show the world that I'm hard. I want to be embraced, but I got to let the world think that I want to hug. I want gifts. I want to be showered. I want to know how people feel about me. But I'm going to tell the world, you ain't got to do all that for me. I'm just trying to give it to you today. You don't have to do all that for me. I'm good. Those are lies you tell yourself, because what you're doing is sabotaging and trying to cover up, trying to put these brick walls to build this fortress around you to keep others from hurting you because of the hurt of your past. I'm just telling you what hurt would drive you to do. And this, again, this ain't hurt from other people, this hurt from you. Stop doing it to yourself. People, it's time to wake up. I had to wake up. I'm the first one to say that's my secret. Don't you tell anybody my secret. But I'm going to tell you, I lived a life of self-sabotage until this past Sunday. And I woke up and said, not me anymore. I won't do it anymore. You know why? Because I have taught people, or I have taught my kids how to love me. And because they know how to love me, they're trying to, and I'm rejecting. And what I'm showing them is rejection, the same thing that I dealt with and I had to be delivered from. So I'm perpetuating what has caused me to be in this place to my kids. But until I recognized this past Sunday what I was doing, I was putting them in a place that they didn't need to be. But you got to be the one to stop the generational things from happening in your life. And I declare I am a generational breaker of curses, of relationship breaking things, of frustration and anger, of sabotage for my family. Listen, you're listening to Hearts and Heels on 90.7 WVAS. We are going in tonight, Sabotage the Truth in Relationships. In just a few moments after this break, we're going to have Kevin. You remember Kevin, the same one that came on the station challenging me on last week. He's here to challenge me again about sabotage and to talk about relationships. So go get your homie, go get your girlfriend, bring them so they can stay tuned and listen to Hearts and Heels. We'll be right back. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Please share with someone. We are going in tonight. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Thank you, Minister Erica Calhoun. I'm just trying to be like you, girl. I'm telling y'all, when the reality hit about my self sabotage, my whole life changed. I won't do it anymore. I won't cause things in my life to be bad or be broken anymore. Now it's all about moving myself forward and giving people around me the opportunity to love on me and to show me what I, because I deserve it. I've been through enough. I've been through enough. I deserve it. And when you make the determination that you deserve more, that you deserve everything that you've been keeping yourself from receiving, the wholeness of what love is. We can't keep declaring that Jesus loved us and Jesus gave us all these things, but then we keep denying the love that he sends for us. We can't keep doing it. So you got to understand that you are deserving of everything that you are keeping yourself from getting. The peace, you deserve it. Freedom, you deserve it. Grace, you deserve it. Healing, you deserve it. Love, you deserve it. Understanding, you deserve it. Breakthrough, you deserve it. And until you begin to understand that in a moment, you'll continue to sabotage yourself and then you'll continue to frustrate those around you. But I declare and decree that today we are realizing that we deserve it because I decided this past Sunday that I deserve to be loved. I'm telling you. And because of that, my family won't experience the rejection that they've been experiencing from me. They're gonna get it all, honey. I'm gonna be expecting. That's what that's it. We're not supposed to be living a life of sabotage. We're supposed to be living a life of expectations. Yes, God. Thank you, God. That wasn't me, y'all. That was nobody but Jesus. We're supposed to be living a life expecting and wanting and needing and we standing around here sabotaging ourselves and cutting the things that God has designed for us. So we are going to have a great conversation. I'm excited to bring Kevin back on the studio with us. He is going to, of course, ignite some conversations. And I'm excited. I'm ready for it. I got my notepad tonight, y'all. I got my notepad. So he ain't going to get me tonight. I'm going to have to take some notes. But thank you so much for tuning in. Please share with someone and let them to join the conversation. We're going to have a good time. And I think I'm cute. You know how you think you're cute? You keep looking at yourself. I keep looking at myself in the camera like, ooh, girl. Erica, don't you log off, girl. Stay on. Thank you for coming back on with us here on Hearts and Heels WVAS. Remember, you're listening to the place where we talk about everything from your hearts to your heels. Uh, we have been talking about sabotage, the truth in relationships, and I gave my little testimony earlier, and I'm counting on all of you not to tell anybody about anything I said because that was all just for your ears only about sabotage and just in the break, there's a revelation of, look, we're supposed to be living a life of expectations, not a life of sabotage. So trade it in. I tell you, it's a lot of stuff in the Bible. God tell you to trade in, tell you to trade in, get your beauty for ashes. get the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. I'm telling you, it's a lot of things. If you could make the right exchange, God will give you some. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna declare, I'm gonna remind you that if you just trade in your sabotaging shade or your sabotaging your name, then you can put an implant expecting Shay or expecting whatever your name is, and watch God do some amazing things. Now, sabotage, the truth in relationships. We talked about sabotage in the very first segment, just personally. Now we're going to talk about sabotage in relationships, and we bringing Mr. Kevin in from last week. Hey,
Hey,
Kevin.
hey, hey, what's going on? How's everybody?
Yes, everybody's doing well. First of all, we want let me say this: we did not know last week as we were having this conversation that Kevin Samuels was transitioning.
Exactly.
So we pay our respects to him,
Yes.
because you may not have liked him or you may not have agreed with whatever he said, but he did bring some things to the forefront. He gave us an opportunity to discuss some things. So I've seen the comments, ladies. Y'all can't be out here just talking about he was good, he dead. We can't do that. It's okay for us to disagree. When we can get to a place where we can have our own opinions and allow those things to happen and manifest, we'll be in a better world. What's your thoughts, Kevin?
Well, it's ironic that we were talking about the man last week
Right.
on the very same day that he passed,
Yeah.
and uh, you know, I'm I don't want to sound cliche, saying things happen for a reason,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
but it is interesting that it happened.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I mean I've gotten over the initial
Shock
shock.
of it. Yeah. it was
It,
it
it
was a
happens.
shock. I mean, we never know the minute hour. We never know our time. So it's good that we all should be loving to each other and live the life that God has called us to. Now, sabotage. You heard me talk about sabotaging personally earlier, but I want to talk about sabotaging in relationships. What are some things that, as men, can't talk about women tonight? I'm gonna make him talk about men. What do men do to sabotage relationships?
Okay, one we talked about this last week was
Hmm.
dealing with other multiple women,
Okay.
or I think that's the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? As men, a lot of times I think we can be distant,
Okay.
or you might want to call emotionally distant.
Mm-hmm.
It may be similar to shutting down.
Okay.
So yeah, and here's the reason why we put women in two categories: women that we have for long-term
Mm-hmm.
relationships, and then there are women that we only use for recreational purposes, for
Okay.
short term.
Okay. I've heard men say that, so you're not the only one.
So, as a man, if we come across a woman who displays long-term relationship qualities,
Mm-hmm.
but yet we're not ready for it,
Mm-hmm.
then that's the type of woman we might keep away from because we don't want to hurt her. We
Okay.
because we understand that we do hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that a lot of times you're looking for things that I may not be able to give you at that time.
But
So
why? But why? I so I I'm wondering why, because sabotage, when I just talked about it, it's not just you hurting others, but it's keeping yourself from experiencing something. So why is it that men are doing things to keep themselves from experiencing the love that we want to give?
uh, because I think the biggest thing is, and don't and also women do it as well.
Yeah, we do.
Women turn
But we
down
talk
good
about
men.
men. We talk about men now. We just only talk about the men.
I had to make that disclaimer, but I think is we don't want to hurt someone who has good qualities. We don't want to hurt a good person.
But why is it that the world or the things that cause the separation are more important than the person that you're separating from? So if I understand what you're saying, I may not be ready at this time, but why are you allowing the things that are keeping you from not being ready to have more control and weigh heavier than being love, receiving this love. So for example, if you meet me and you say, oh, no, you're the woman of my dreams, but I can't have you right now because I'm not ready to settle down. Whatever it is that's keeping you from not settling down, why is that placed in the forefront or given more importance than the woman that you know is for you?
And that's a good question. But a lot of times we're not ready for the things we want and for the things we ask for.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get something, even if it's something that you want, if you get it too soon, not only can you mess that thing up, it can mess you up.
But if we meet, is it really too soon? Because we talk about purpose and destiny and all these different things. So if we collide at this time, why? How is that too soon? See, that I don't know. I don't know if men are just like
Well,
missing it.
well, you mentioned, what is it, destiny
Yeah,
and
purpose.
purpose,
Yeah,
but you also have to remember we also have a choice.
that's true.
And even though something can come across your path, even like you say, it could be your destiny, it can
Mm-hmm.
be your purpose. You can choose to be with it. You can choose it, or you can reject it. But then also understand too that preparation. Are you ready for that particular thing? And I'm saying thing in general, but I know you're speaking from a
A relationship.
relationship
Yeah.
point of view. But it can be anything. It can be a position at a job. It can be a particular type of job. It can be, um, I don't know, a house, a car.
But so, I'm just a believer. Like if we met at this place,
Hmm.
then why aren't you willing to get rid of all those things? So I'm not saying that you have to be perfect because every relationship is working. Even when you say you're ready, you're still not ready. Let's just be honest, because you don't, until you get married, it's hard to understand the compromising, the give and take, the all the different things. So it's, for me, it's always learning. It's an evolution. Like nothing ever stops. It's a consistent, it's continuous of trying to figure each other out because we change, life changes. So why aren't you ready to go ahead and get on that road then?
And that's a good question because you mentioned the word evolution.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about evolution is even evolution takes time.
It
You
does.
you 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 plant you plant a seed,
But let's take the time together. Let's not be separate.
but can't but even if you even well let me use this couple of analogies.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you plant a seed in the ground, it's still going to take time for that seed to grow.
Right.
So no matter how much you want, no matter how much you desire it, a seed
Okay.
a seed cannot grow before its time.
Okay.
And another analogy is asking a elementary school student to do college level work.
So
And
he's just not ready.
yes,
When he's
and
not ready, women should accept the fact that he is not ready.
yes, and even on the reverse side, men, when she's not ready. So
Accept the fact that she is not ready.
that's right.
I Okay, I get it. So we talked about multiple distant emotionally shutting down. So we did take note of the fact that you said women do the same thing.
Hmm.
But why is it so hard for men to share themselves with a woman emotionally?
Well, come on now, because we're told sharing emotions is weak, uh, and as a matter of fact, I even would uh, advise not to do that. Not with your woman, uh,
Why?
because women love to take what you share with them and use it against you.
You know what? I think you've been hurt, Kevin. We're gonna have to heal
Well,
Kevin.
well, well,
Cause
but look, here's the thing though. Even if I were hurt, think about it. You learn your lesson and you move forward.
what I just talked about sabotage.
Hmm.
You didn't hear it. I'm gonna have to preach it all over to
And
you.
that's fine. And that's fine. But
Kevin.
I don't want to look. I'm not trying to.
No, I'm not. But a lot of men feel that way,
Mm-hmm.
and you just gave advice for men to continue to be emotionally distant and not to share themselves emotionally.
No,
But
not with their woman.
see, that makes no sense.
No, no, it makes plenty of sense because you can go talk to a therapist. You can, as a man, you can talk to another male. You can talk to a male role model to get your advice.
But
But
if I'm your wife, your significant other, and I'm sharing my emotions with you, why
mhm.
can't you share those same with me so that we can be? I can understand you and you can understand me.
Well, one of the big differences between men and women is that you can share your secrets with me. I won't say a thing. Well,
So you trying to say
uh,
women talk too much? That's what
uh,
you're trying to say.
okay, well, that's a good way of putting it. But then, not only that, but let's just say in a moment of anger, a woman will bring back what you told her and use it against you.
Men do it too.
But yeah,
Men do it too.
but let's
But
be honest.
I do understand what you're saying. What you're saying is that it's harder for men to release or to let you know those any inner parts because women would take that, throw it back at you,
Hmm.
and still and make you feel down and all these things.
Yes, yes,
And you don't and men don't like to. We just like to tell you and be done with it.
exactly.
But who's? I mean, but there always has to be like I told you so in a relation. Like, why can't? What's wrong with saying I told you so, or see this why you act this way because blah 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 blah. What's wrong with helping you to see that?
Oh, well, let me ask you this then.
Hmm.
If you have to constantly coach your man, can you truly respect him?
Yes.
Because understand now, isn't the man supposed to lead the woman, right?
But that just because you're leading doesn't mean you know everything. That's just like the president of the United States. He leads the United States, but he doesn't know everything. He can't be over everything. So he have advisors around him that help him to be the best president he can be.
Thank you for using that
Okay,
analogy.
you're welcome.
Because he has his advisors, he has his joint chiefs, and board members, his cabinet members.
Right.
That's who advises him, not the American people. So your man can have his
But the
your man
American
can
people
your
advise them.
your
Supposed to be. That's how
well,
it's supposed to be.
here's the thing though. I don't think the average citizen can tell the Department of Defense, the Secretary of Defense, which unit to send to a certain part of the
So
world.
you're right. Women cannot tell men how to deal with men things. I get what you're saying. I agree with that. We can't tell, but it also helps us to understand you. I mean, I think that's the point. Like sometimes relationships break up because men feel like, oh, and I'm not saying sometimes. I have heard men say, "Well, my wife don't understand me." Well, if you never share your emotions or talk about who you are and your experiences and what you've been through, how do will I understand you? And why is it? And so my problem with this is you say don't share with your significant other, but somehow you end up sharing with the other woman, like that becomes your connection, and so then you feel more connection with that person because you don't have to deal with them every day, but you're telling them all these secrets and you have these relationships, but you're having an emotional relationship. So not only are you having and sometimes it doesn't even include sex. Sometimes men are having, they got a spouse and then they have these emotional relationships with everybody else, which causes us to be even more insecure, because when you start going emotionally, there's a connection. There's a deeper type of connection than physical.
But as you said though, that's a person we don't have to deal with every day. That that was her purpose. Her purpose was to be that counselor in that particular situation.
But
Is
what's the purpose of your wife?
the help me. The,
Okay. And if you have if emotional needs, why can't she help you meet the needs of your emotions?
but
Meet the needs. I mean, we can help you with finances,
uh-huh.
and we
Mm.
can help you meet the needs of feeding yourself. We can cook and clean. We can iron your clothes. We can do all these things, but we can't help you emotionally.
Would and you probably might say yes just to
No,
but
no.
can you actually respect a man after he has been vulnerable with you? After, and let's just say he's just sat and cried over a particular event. Can you now still look at this man as your leader? A man, look at him as being strong. Can you actually still respect a man who?
I mean, I'm a little bit different. So you're right. My answer would be yes, because to me, that shows the different levels of who you are. Like, you're not just this iron person that doesn't have feelings, doesn't understand what I'm going through. And so I would say yes. Now, I've heard women talk about men who cry, and I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong. I think we start at an early age telling our boys, "Don't you cry," you know, and so we're already teaching them not to deal with their emotions, not to feel, not to no. I think that's something that we have to deal with, and I've done that. So I'm not excused or exempt from that. I have done that, but again, that is we're teaching our children to self-sabotage, keep their feelings and emotions in. And as women, if we can't deal with men who are emotional, then that's super crazy. I don't see anything wrong with a man having an emotion. Like, if we now, I don't need you crying over all the commercials on TV. You know what I'm saying? We not do that, but come on, we
So you admit there is a limit then to a man being vulnerable.
no. I admit for Shay, because I'm not an emotional person. So for because I'm not an emotional person, there's some levels of emotion I don't get. And I'm still searching because I look. I said this at the beginning, because of rejection and abandonment and all these things. I had blockades up of emotions, so I just didn't deal with emotions. Like, I'm not gonna let anything hurt my feelings. I'm just gonna live this life stone cold. I'm like the Hulk 24/7, and you cannot be the Hulk 24/7, because when you come inside, you are like this crying, vulnerable person. So I've learned to overcome those things. So there are some emotions that I still don't understand and get, but I'm working through and wading through those things. Because if you think about it, I'm a thinker first. I think, I'm an analyst, I'm always processing, and I'm gonna deal with my emotions last. So I don't really like to deal with them. They cause me too much pain, and so for me, emotions are hard to see, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But like John Q, let's talk about John Q. When John Q, you saw the movie, right?
Yeah. Well, it's been probably 20 years now, but I got to
When
go back.
Denzel,
Yeah, the Denzel when he
right, when he
the
was like,
hospital.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the wife said, "Do something," and he went out. He did a little crying, and he figured things out. Nothing wrong with that.
Wait. You said something, but well, first of all, I want to go back to that Hulk reference. I like that Hulk reference.
Yeah, I
It,
mean, I
but,
tried it
but yeah, because the Hulk eventually sometimes have to turn back to Bruce Banner.
all the
So,
time.
but you mentioned John Q. You see now,
Yep.
you said his wife told him to do something,
Yeah.
but then going by your words, he left,
You right.
then cried, figured it out, and then that's when
I don't know if he
the
really figured it out, but he
he
cried.
he took action.
He did. He took action.
Yeah,
Yes.
so even if you do it, don't do it. Do it in a private place, because even prior to the Hulk reference, you mentioned the strong Iron Man,
Mm-hmm.
and I think women want to see their man as this Iron Man, and as a man, I definitely want to be seen as a Iron Man. So,
But is crying not strength? Like, when did crying become weak?
well, I think we've always seen crying as weak.
But it's
It's,
really not, though. That means that you just made it to a point where you're releasing, right?
but if crying is not weak, then why would you not want your man to cry at every sentimental commercial that comes on TV? I'm trying to think of one now, but
I don't
I
know.
can't.
I don't know what.
Not one recently.
I mean,
Cause
but I cry in movies like constantly. I'm like crying at movie endings and stuff. Romantic stories and the feel goods. I cried there all the time because. there so good.
I understand.
And I wouldn't. I mean, if a man did it, hey, we could cry together. But that doesn't mean that you're weak. That just means that you're capable of feeling emotions. You're capable of living a holistic life that includes crying. Because life includes being angry, life includes being happy, life includes being sad, life includes crying.
Look at
I know
the
I just went this whole circle, I'm telling you.
look at the types of men who are being chosen. These are not the type of men who will.
So I think that's a sabotage of women. I think that sometimes we get into this place where we want to choose the bad guy. So perfect example, Jada. Somebody was talking today, and I saw this thing and it said, "Do you think Will Smith should leave or stay with Jada Pinkett Smith?" Right?
Mm-hmm,
And so the lady said, "Leave." Because she loved Tupac more than she loved Will Smith, right?
mm-hmm,
I think ladies, I think we choose the wrong men
okay.
because of the what's the word, the
You think looking for masculinity, the maybe like the
I think we
idea of
have
what?
the wrong perception of what a man is,
Okay.
because we think of men as just being these strong, fighting and beating up, all this kind of stuff, but that's not every man. And should every man fight? But then I think too that go back. Sometimes I can relate stuff to back in slavery days. I
Mm-hmm.
think because when you look at some of the slavery movies, which I don't watch, I hate slavery movies, but when you watch them, normally, like the woman's always looking for the man to stand up and protect me and guard me, and I think that's kind of been perpetuated over years, but that's not necessarily the right man, right?
Well, I mean that's a good question. Is it perception or is it biological? Uh, I mean, when I believe women really do want men who will protect them.
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, because I do want my man to protect me. I'm not even gonna say I
And
don't.
and so
Uh oh. My alarm trying to
so
make sure I'm awake.
but well, okay, so who generally who is a better protector, the man who's in control of his emotions, or the man who breaks down and cry at movies, or the man who uh,
I don't know. Sometimes when you get a good cry, you your strength come up. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yes. Nothing like a good cry when you mad.
well,
I do it all the time.
and so, but the better protector, the man who can control his emotions, or the man whose emotions control him.
I mean, I think any person is better when they can control their emotions. And not that you don't cry, not that you don't, but you're able to process them in a way that's beneficial in your moments. So, in other words, because women, we have to do it too. We can't just pop off when things get heated. We should not just go off on everybody. People say whatever come up, come out. No, that's not how it should be. We should be able to process things and really be able to move things forward. That's why how we get ourselves in some trouble. So I think emotional intelligence is important for everybody. But I think when you feel like that you have to be in other spaces in order to experience emotions, that is where the damage comes in relationships. Because as a husband and wife, and we're one, the Bible said the two should become one. We're merged together. Why do I not know you? Why do I not experience your emotional side? So just because you can cry doesn't mean that you can't fight. Just because you go to sleep doesn't mean you don't want to wake up. Just because you dress nice doesn't mean you can't put on basketball shorts to go out here and play basketball or go cut this grass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but in general though,
Yeah,
it,
that's big.
who is the better protector, the fighter or the crier?
I
And
mean,
I mean, yeah, there are examples, where a person can,
I get what you're saying. I can agree with you that the person, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so yeah, that I guess that's what we're trying to say in general. Well, of course, there are going to be exceptions.
Exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, but
But
generally,
when do we get away from that though, expecting men to be this, Hulk in our life?
that's a good question. Well,
And do men perpetuate it?
should we get away from it? Let's think about, we're pretty much, despite what's been going on, we're still pretty much in a safe country compared to other
Comparatively speaking, yes.
so we as men, we don't have to hunt and gather, like
Right,
cavemen used to do. We
right,
don't have to worry about an army
right,
coming in and taking over our town. So
right.
so so we're not in a position to where we will have to fight. But yet, I guess because of uh, evolution, I think women still look for qualities that shows that a man is still a good provider and protector. So,
But provider can be different for different
and
people
yeah, and especially living in a
because
country such as ours. Yeah.
right. So, for a woman who is in the military that can protect herself, she's not looking for that type of protector, right?
Well, maybe not, but I mean, because this is a side note, but the physical standards for women are different than the physical standards for men in the military. So
Okay, then he went all technical. What are some other sabotage? I'm ready
okay,
for it today. Come on, give me another one.
wow. Let's see. So there's the infidelity.
Right?
We talked about
Distant emotionally. Yep.
distant emotionally, shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess, and is now this might refer more to women than men though.
Okay, go ahead and talk about this.
Family,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, especially people who give relationship advice, to give you relationship advice when they're not in a happy relationship or not even in a relationship.
so you
And
saying women taking advice from people who are not in relationships?
yeah, now and I don't see too many men doing that, but not
Yes,
saying
y'all
not
do.
not saying that it ain't
I'm
possible.
just kidding.
But yeah, because I think as with men, I think we tend to talk to someone who's already been there, who's been through it.
I
You
don't
know,
know. I can kind of disagree with that. I think sometimes you guys get advice from the wrong people too. I
yeah,
thought you were talking about sabotaging as far as, family members like because for men I would say, your mama can sometimes be
yeah,
sabotaging because
yeah,
you are mama's boy.
mm-hmm.
You
And
know, and mother-in-laws can be some of the worst. I don't have that issue, praise God. Shout out to my mother-in-law. Shout out to my mother-in-law because I don't have that issue. But that could be. I mean, that could be an issue where you're allowing other things to come into the relationship and make a
mm-hmm.
decision,
Yeah,
or you base your relationship on mother's advice.
mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
I think men can do that. I
mm-hmm.
think men are so wrapped up in their mothers and for whatever. I mean, mothers and sons
Yeah,
are. I have
yeah.
sons, so I understand it. Whoever marries my youngest son probably is going to have the hardest. I'm just letting you know, but I'm going to try to be my best to be as supportive. But I think men sometimes can allow other people to come into their
Sure.
relationships to define their women because they, for whatever reason, that's wrong,
And which brings us back to the your Hulk Iron Man reference.
right?
If you are a strong enough man, even if you do receive outside input, you're still strong enough to make your own
But
decision.
I don't think that's true. I think that whatever someone tells you, it has some bearings on relationships, whether you say it or not. Because men sometimes will bring up things that people have said, like, such and such told me I shouldn't have married you in the first place. And then you'd be like, what? And when did they say that? You done held on that for 30 years. Like, we 30 years down the pipe, and now you won't
Eh,
say this because you're throwing up stuff. So
eh,
that's not true. I believe that it's always something in the back of your mind that when somebody tells you something about your wife.
but I think the fact that you can hold on to that for 30 years can show how strong you are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, because
yeah.
it's always playing in your mind. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why you're not getting out emotions. That's why men stay so broken for so long, because you guys want to keep in all these things and not deal with them, not heal from it.
Well, going back to the late Kevin Samuels,
Oh Lord.
he has always advocated for black people
Hmm.
to seek professional help.
and,
So,
and and I think it's right. I don't think men have done a great job at understanding who they are, so they become what the world tells them they should be. So they are unhappy, and they are all the and women have done the same thing. I'm not
oh,
saying that.
oh yeah, because
I
we
could definitely agree with that.
let's talk about the women who are walking around wearing other women's hair. That's
But it's
and
nothing wrong with other women hair.
another race of woman though. You black, but you walking around with a Chinese woman hair.
I mean, her hair look good, and
But
it's easy.
then get mad when a black man date a Chinese woman. So,
Right.
uh, well, look, I might as well date the real thing if you want to wear her hair.
Oh no, that's right. You better laugh and walk on down. No, 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 no.
but
I
but
mean,
but
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 standards of beauty. So you have all these years said the standard of beauty is this.
mhm.
And so we've worked to achieve that because as black women, we have felt undervalued for so long. We've always felt like we had to work harder to get in spaces and places, and that has been traditionally true, that we have had to work harder. We have felt like we've had to look better, and everybody has stolen from us, but at the same time they get credit for all these things, and we have to try to become everything else for everybody. True. Because while you're dating the other races, they have had nose jobs, which are not theirs. But you concerned about my hair? They have had what? You gonna talk about the BBLs?
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. You brought that up, but who's having those jobs?
Other races,
Of who?
other races.
Of who?
I don't want to get because I don't know statistics, so I don't want to clarify. But most people that I know, they are not black women who have had nose jobs and other cosmetic things. Now, more recently, we have done more cosmetic things, but traditionally in the past, it has not been black women. But because there's levels of standards of beauty, to see everybody else has tried to reach and attain this beauty of, it doesn't crack because it doesn't. I'm old, but I look
I,
like I'm 22.
well, I would say this though: anything won't crack as long as you take care of it.
That's true, but other people have tried to emulate that. So, and because they've tried to emulate it, you guys run to the other side. Now, I don't have
No,
nothing. I don't have nothing. No problem against interracial relationship. God, whoever you love, you love. But what I'm saying is that you can't run to the other side because you feel like it's better. Don't do
uh,
that. Fall in love, but don't say, "Oh, all black women are this," or all such women is this. I like them because they this.
but here's the thing though: it works in reverse because you can, as black men, we've dealt with the black man isn't sugar honey iced tea for about 40 years now.
I had to figure out what you were saying. Yes. Uh
Yeah,
huh.
we can go back to call Tyrone. No scrubs, ain't nothing going on but the rent. Even all the way back to the '70s, where there's a song called "Runaway Little Boy."
Okay. Okay.
So we
We did it.
we dealt with the criticisms,
Okay.
and so my thing is we didn't try to get nose jobs, and don't count Michael Jackson because again that's an outlier.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do, despite our image,
Mm-hmm.
is to do better and move forward. So I think that's the only thing I can say. Do better.
But you
With
left us.
not true, not true. Even though marriage rates across the board are
Right.
falling, and it includes marriage rates for black people too. But majority of black men, successful black men included, are still with black women and still choosing black
You think so? I mean, I think
women.
so. I think it's I'm just saying you cannot make other choices. I dislike it when men make choices and about, to go to other races because black women are not this. Don't demean what black women are not, because nobody understands the struggle that we've gone through. We have. You think about the struggle that we've gone through and that's been perpetuated over the years, and that has been going, because whether we like it, everything is generational. We got stuff passed down. It is what it is, because black women were raped. They were considered less than. I mean, even when you think about, the whole women rights movement, it wasn't for black women. It was for white women. It wasn't about black women and giving black women. As a matter of fact, we were seeing less than black men at the time because, we didn't. Black men were fighting. They had some form of rights, but we had absolutely nothing. And again, when that movement came, it wasn't for black women. So we've had to fight and struggle through a lot of things. We are more educated than we've ever been before. We are more independent than we have been before. Hence the reason that we have come into places where we said, or we can do things by ourselves. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with women saying that they don't need men. That's not true. We need men. Men are important. They have seeds. They are important in our lives. But we've had to struggle. We've had to go through a lot. So when you say that I'm leaving the black woman because of this, that's hurtful.
Well,
Because even though I may be angry, you don't know why I'm angry. Maybe I've been hurt, maybe I've been broken. Here's the reason we need to go get help. Everybody need to be healed and delivered, including me.
okay,
Sabotage.
okay, but here's the thing. Going back to the women's right movement,
Mm-hmm.
you were brought into that. Well,
Why?
it eventually,
Why were we brought into it?
you know what? Conspiracy theory to break up the black community, to break up the black homes.
I've
That,
heard that.
that, that's my conspiracy theory.
I,
But 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 aside, or should I say, along with the women's rights movement, women, particularly black women, are better off, or I don't want to say better off, but you have benefited greatly from the women's rights movement. You've got laws that work in your favor.
no. I
And
never said that we did not benefit from that.
uh-huh,
I just said it was not for
not
us.
for us.
So that doesn't mean that we hadn't benefited from it. It's just a lot of things in life that really wasn't for us.
Hmm.
But when you learn how to benefit from it, and we've done a great job at being able to take little and make something from it, or go through the lines and go through the puzzle to try to get to the other side of it. I think as a black woman, we have done a great job. And as women, we have, not just black women, but all women, we have done a great job at navigating things to really come out on the other side. Um, but again, we still have sabotaging. Um, we're still sabotaging relationships. We're still, again, we're at the point, I feel, as women that, again, where we're saying we don't need men. We do. Let's stop saying that. Now, that doesn't mean you depend on the man. That doesn't mean that you stay in an abusive situation. That just means that you need men. It's just don't put yourself in positions where, don't allow yourself to be in positions that are unhealthy.
Hmm. Okay. And now, um, as far as dating out, a black men dating out, understand that black women date out as well,
We do.
and understand that black women date out and will say because black men aren't this and black men aren't that.
I
So
have never heard that.
okay, well I will tell you what, there is a group of women. Oh man, it's 7 o'clock
Already,
already.
y'all.
The,
Okay, listen. I've got to get off this station. Thank you so much, Keisha. Oh, now I heard better than I followed. Okay. All right, we're going to talk about this. Look, this month we're continuing to have these conversations about relationships. We have had a long talk tonight. And again, sabotage, we're talking about it. Next week, we're going to continue on relationship talk and talk some more. Um, it is the end of this show. I do want to share with you that on June the 5th, y'all write it down, June 5th, 2022, downtown at the Riverwalk Amphitheater, Hearts and Hills is sponsoring this first event called The Outpouring. Make sure you come. Go on Facebook and get the information. It will start at 4 p.m. And what it is just worship on the river. We're going to have a great time with prayer for our community and worship immediately following. So be on the lookout for the flyers. Share, get your lawn chairs, come out and be ready to worship God. Again, Hearts and Hills and WBS, we're going out on the riverfront for the outpouring on June the 5th. I need to see you there. And remember, whatever you do, do it with all your heart. And if you can't put your heart in it, put your heels on and walk away. We'll see you next week, same place, same time. Love you guys. It's Hearts and Heels.